What is the thing in your collection that is the most expensive? Asks Leonardo Jimenez. Hey Nintendo fans and collectors, Lithium here, bringing you another entry into the Q Lithium series, or the Question Lithium series. Hopefully I'll be doing these videos every Friday. They work really well with doing my giveaway on that day as well, so keep asking your questions and bringing them in. Just to mention, the winner of Twilight Princess will be announced at the end of the video, but this week's giveaway is for a Ganondorf and Link figure. I'm giving away both of them together. All you have to do to enter this giveaway is subscribe to my channel, and please comment below what is the most expensive item in your collection. Now, answering your question, I'm also actually going to answer Will Explain's question. He says, patience is a virtue. What item took the longest for you to get? What is the most you paid for an item? Defining the term expensive is kind of interesting because are you asking what cost me the most money, or if you were to search on eBay, let's say for example, what is the most expensive items in my collection that would come up on eBay that I currently have here right now? I'm going to answer your questions in a few parts. I'm going to talk about my 3 most expensive games, my 3 most expensive controllers, and then my consoles, as well as 1 bonus item, hopefully. Now, to actually answer what is the most expensive thing that I ever bought, it's none of these things right here that you see, but the most expensive thing that I've ever bought in my entire life collecting was actually a brand new Wii U console. When it was launched, this is not the launch version, this is the Zelda version, but when it was launched, it cost $300, and I have never spent more than $300 on one single item ever. I'm a very intelligent collector. I would think that I'm patient, and I try and find things for really good deals. I sometimes make trades, and I will wait years to try and find an item for a really good price, but sometimes that means I missed out on something that went way up in value. So $300, the most I've ever spent on one single item. Now, if you're talking about buying something in parts, we can get to Earthbound, actually. Earthbound, I bought the cartridge, I think for $120. I bought the manual, that's this really good walkthrough, for about $30 or $40. And then this box that I was missing, all the bachelors, at my bachelor party actually, threw in $20 each, and then they bought me the box for Earthbound. So if you were to put that all together, this probably cost us like $350. That's the most combined, obviously, that I've ever spent on one single item. It's also probably in my top 3 most expensive things that if you search on eBay. Earthbound Complete like this usually sells for $500 roughly, maybe an up, sometimes a little bit lower if you have everything with it. But my cartridge isn't in the best shape, so I'd say it's worth a little bit less than that. But that's an insanely large price to spend on one game. Next up, another box game. This is a Blockbuster exclusive. It's called Final Fight Guy. This one was really difficult to find, actually, and there is a manual for it that I am missing, but I do have the cartridge. There's some slight damage to the box. You can see right here that a sticker was removed, but a boxed copy of this usually sells for hundreds of dollars, sometimes $300 and up. It really depends on the condition of it and where you find it, so that's definitely amongst my most expensive games, I would think. There's a lot of other options, but this is just what I chose for this video. The next most expensive game, probably, is Clay Fighter Sculptors Cut, especially the fact that I don't have this complete. I only have the cartridge. A complete copy of this sometimes sells for over $1,500. The manual alone is so rare that it sells for hundreds of dollars, if not $1,000 on its own. A cartridge copy of this is hundreds of dollars. That's a lot of money to spend on just one single game, of course. But I bought that copy, I think, for like $65, $70 or something like that a few years ago. So those are my 3 most expensive games. Next, let's move on to my 3 most expensive controllers. The first controller is probably one of my favorite items in my entire collection, and that is, most of you probably know this, the Millennium 2000 controller. This has a metallic silver finish on the top, a black finish on the bottom. The insert obviously is also metallic silver, and there's black buttons and the black analog casing as well as the directional pad with this Millennium 2000 logo on it. This is one of 1,000 that exist in the world. I bought it for $85 several years ago, but now this sells for over $500. That's a lot of money to spend on one item, of course. Next up, also one of 1,000, this is the Gundam Wavebird. This thing, apparently, I think, was exclusive to Nintendo's Club Nintendo in Japan, and I bought this one for, I think it was a few $100s, like $200, something in that price range, and now it sells for usually about double that, especially with the box and the inserts and everything, at least $350, making it definitely in my top 3 most expensive controllers. And the last one is this Jesco Nintendo 64 controller. This one I didn't spend a dime on, actually. I had a Jesco box, and another person saw mine. Mine was in better shape than his. He wanted to trade me for it, but he gave me this controller as part of the trade. So I got it for free, which is really cool, because this usually spends or costs about $300 on eBay itself. There are a lot of other options for controllers that are really expensive, but I would say that these three are probably at least my most expensive controllers, or at least close to it. Alright, let's move on to consoles. I already mentioned the Legend of Zelda Wii U console. This one, if you search on eBay, it's going for at least $300. The Diehawks console, I think I could also put in here as well, but I'm going to go with this one for now. There's also the Starlight Gold Gamecube that you can kind of see in the little corner right here. That one sometimes sells for $250 or more as well, but this one has recently gone up and down, so it's a little bit difficult to get a price point on that one. Sticking with the GameCube, mentioning the Starlight console, this GameCube, the Gundam Gamecube as well, a lot of these go in pairs in terms of rarity and expense. This one's amongst my top three as well. I think I spent $220 on this or something like that, but this is really awesome because it does have a lot of different items that come with this, including a figurine, a different colored Game Boy player, and of course the really cool customized console. So this item usually now sells on eBay for $500 and up. It depends where you find it, depends on the condition. Sometimes you might be able to get it for like $300 and find a really good deal. Now the last console I would like to mention is actually, again, we're going around in circles with the Jesco Nintendo 64 console. This is the rarest Nintendo 64. This is the box that I did trade to get. There's some slight damage right here, but I thought getting the controller was definitely worth it, considering what we did in the trade. This one usually sells for hundreds of dollars, if not $1,000 online complete, but hopefully you could hold out like me, and I bought this for just $100. This is the item that took me the longest in my entire collection to get, I would think. Especially with me avidly looking for this online every day, probably once or twice a day whenever I could help it. So I bought this years ago. I did not want to spend the actual cost of it, so I searched on eBay just for simply Nintendo 64 boxed and Nintendo 64 Japan. And eventually this came up as a buy it now for $100. I bought it, I think, the day that it was listed, and I got very, very fortunate with it. The seller didn't quite know what he had. So I basically got it for $100, and it's probably worth almost $1,000. That's absolutely insane. Now, I mentioned I might do a bonus item. My most expensive figurine, for those of you that are wondering, I spent, I think, $70 on this Link limited edition World of Nintendo figure that then was just released in stores anyway. So I don't even know if this was worth it, but at least the box packaging is something different. But it is a little bit damaged, as you could see. But that's probably my most expensive figure that I've ever bought in my collecting career. Alright, the giveaway winner for The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess is Rhinosity, or Rhino City. Congratulations. Please contact me in the back end of my channel on the About page. There's an email link right there. So thank you very much, everyone, for entering. Congratulations, Rhinosity. And make sure you enter this week's giveaway again for the Ganondorf and Link figures. Just subscribe to the channel and please comment below what is your most expensive item in your collection. Thank you very much for your questions, both Will and Leonardo. I appreciate it. Feel free to fill that like bucket. Follow me on all the social media links in the description below the video. And remember, as always, go collect them all, keep smiling while gaming, and thanks for watching, everyone.